Today I want to talk about the DC Extended Universe. For the uninitiated, it's a, universe of different heroes from the DC comics that all exist in the same timeline. Now, discussing both the DCEU and MCU can get a bit testy, so I want to put a disclaimer. I'm not a fanboy in either camp. I didn't grow up on comic books, and while I did watch superhero shows as a child, I don't emotionally connect them to the live-action films. I just want to see a good movie. And if you like the DCEU films thus far, fine, have fun. But from a filmmaking standpoint, looking at it in terms of acting, action, characters, and presentation, the DCEU is, at best, a bit shoddy, and at worst, in a serious tailspin. But I don't want a series of high-budget messes to flood the cinema. I want this to work. So, similar to my video on how to do the Joker again, I want to very briefly talk about how the DCEU can level out this nosedive of quality. Alright, some tough love first. DC's aping of the Marvel formula is akin to a kid copying another student's project idea. Instead, this time they're handing in their project late, and they still didn't finish it. I'm not saying Marvel owns the rights to this process of releasing one film per hero, then having the heroes jump between films and occasionally congregate, but DC is simply not doing the job well. Marvel is not perfect. In fact, I only enjoyed about half of them, but the characters are distinct and well conceived, the special effects are convincing, and the series is experimenting with different styles and tones. The DCEU has consistencies, but most are bad. The action is consistently weightless and badly choreographed, the dialogue is consistently mediocre, the villains are consistently cringe, and the CGI is consistently shit. A lot of this blame goes to the top, the people who lay down the main creative decisions, and they just don't make sense.
Save Martha!
But I think there's a clever and cool way the DCEU can get back on track. First, hit that reset button and focus on two of DC's characters, Batman and either Superman or Wonder Woman. For the interest of time, I'll just say Superman, okay? Okay, so you release a Batman film and a Superman film every 2 years or so. Then introduce other DC members in each one at a time. Use the differences between the characters to create disharmony. Use their similarities to create brotherhood. How about Superman and the Flash getting to know each other, to where their eventual racing actually means something? Or Batman and Cyborg using different gadgets on a mission. Don't make the Batman films at war with the Superman ones, but do approach their filmmaking with different lenses, figuratively and literally. The Batman film should be dark, broody, and violent without being callous. If there are deaths, ensure they have weight and meaning. On the other side, give the Superman films a more optimistic brightness. Use yellows, reds, and greens in the color scheme, and compose music that isn't trying so hard to be edgy and raw. Also, if there's anything the DC lore has on Marvel, it's the bad guys. The fact that the DCEU has yet to produce a decent villain is mind-boggling. And if you do the Joker or Lex Luthor again, maybe hire an actor who won't go Pac-Man on the damn scenery.
Clark Kent. I love it. The problem of evil in the world.
He's so intense.
And he's coming!
I have an idea.
You let your family die!
Oh, you from us.
Construct thematic parallels between the two film series. For example, in at least one show, Superman draws his power from the sun, so use sunlight as a heroic symbol, a kind of call to action. While Batman too watches for a light in the sky, but one that fits his world. When the film leads do meet, make it, for lack of a better word, cool. If you need inspiration, watch the excellent crossover episode of Batman and Superman from the WB animated series. They're rivals at first, but then grow to not necessarily like each other, but respect each other's abilities out of necessity. When you eventually combine not just these two series, but form the Justice League, don't overcomplicate the story. And with such a huge budget, instill more variety to the combat than punch, punch, block, punch, punch, happy birthday. It's not like you're unable to do these things. It's as if you're not trying. So try, or at least try harder. I'm not saying this is necessarily the best way to fix the DCEU, but I think it's worth looking at. Like any venture, play to your strengths, and either cut or improve the weaknesses. Rethink, plan. You can't refuel the tank while doing 80. Stepping back is not a surrender. So, from writer to writers, Stop copying Marvel's homework, get off Twitter, ditch your trendy charts, take out your pens and paper, drive your team to the park and write a good fucking story. And don't come back until you can read it out loud with pride. Just a thought.